right here. We're also following new developments surrounding Donald Trump Jr. and his ties to WikiLeaks. The president's oldest son released private messages confirming conversations that he had with the anti-secrecy website during and after the 2016 presidential campaign. It was the same period of time in which WikiLeaks released hacked emails and files from Hillary Clinton's campaign manager. Our Jeff Begayes is in Washington with more on that.
This has been an election for change.
The president's son, Donald Trump Jr., was in direct communication with WikiLeaks from September 2016 until July of this year. It appears WikiLeaks initiated contact. Trump Jr. released screenshots Monday of what he claims are all of the Twitter private messages between him and the controversial website. Candidate Trump frequently praised WikiLeaks during the campaign.
WikiLeaks, I love WikiLeaks.
WikiLeaks is amazing, the stuff that's coming out.
The day after those comments, on October 12th, WikiLeaks sent Donald Trump Jr. a link to the hacked Democratic emails with this message. Strongly suggest your dad tweets this link if he mentions us. Less than an hour later, candidate Trump tweeted, very little pickup of incredible information provided by WikiLeaks. On October 14th, Donald Trump Jr. sent out the link himself, saying, all the WikiLeaks emails are right here. That same day, then vice presidential nominee Mike Pence was asked about Trump campaign contact with WikiLeaks on Fox News.
Some have suggested on the left that all this bad stuff about Hillary, nothing bad about Trump, that your campaign is in cahoots with WikiLeaks.
Nothing could be further from the truth.
U.S. intelligence officials determined that WikiLeaks was being used by the Russians to disseminate material that was stolen from Democrats. There are 3 open investigations into Russian campaign meddling on Capitol Hill. Congressman Eric Swalwell.
He's demonstrated that he and other campaign members were willing to do whatever it takes to work with the Russians to get dirt on their opponent, Hillary Clinton.
CBS News Justice and Homeland Security correspondent Jeff Begayes is following the latest in Washington. Jeff, what are the consequences, if any? What are the consequences for Donald Trump Jr.? I mean, did he actually do anything illegal? Or is it more sort of like political consequences?
Well, listen, it depends on who you talk to. There are people who believe because he's a private citizen, there's nothing illegal here unless he lied to congressional investigators or the special counsel's office. And so you really have to almost wait until you hear the results of this investigation, when we don't know when that's going to be just yet. But you have all these congressional investigations. There are 3 of those. And then you have the special counsel's office looking into this. And you can bet that this is something that they have been or will be scrutinizing. These messages between Donald Trump Jr. and WikiLeaks. You know, I've gone over these messages, and it looks like, in a lot of ways, WikiLeaks was sort of advising Donald Trump Jr. And the Trump campaign in some ways. I mean, if you look at the wording of some of these messages, and I'm going to read through one, it says, "Hi, Don. If your father loses, we think it is much more interesting if he does not concede and spends time challenging the media and other types of rigging that occurred." And that's just one example there, and there are other messages. It seems like there is some familiarity there. Hi, Don, if your father loses, like there has been other communication, and that's what congressional investigators are certainly interested in. They want to see if there were any other contacts or messages between WikiLeaks and Donald Trump Jr., whether there were any phone calls with anyone at WikiLeaks. And something else to keep in mind here, we know, based on our reporting and our information that we've gotten from sources, and really what is in the public record, Roger Stone, another former Trump campaign associate, a longtime friend of the president, seemed to predict in August of 2017 and then in October of 2016, that John Podesta, the Clinton campaign chairman, was going to have his, quote, time in the barrel, meaning that WikiLeaks was about to release information on him, which they eventually did. And so, taken on its own, investigators are looking at what Donald Trump Jr. was saying and communicating with WikiLeaks, but also there is Roger Stone and whether he was in contact with WikiLeaks as well. He says he was communicating with WikiLeaks through some sort of intermediary, but investigators are looking into all of this.
Right, indeed. And I suppose also beyond that, sort of what else was occurring during the campaign cycle at the time when they were going back and forth. Donald Trump Jr. indicates, at least when he released these communications, that he only really responded 3 times. And then after that, even though WikiLeaks seems to have been reaching out to him, he's not responding via these instant messages. But we really don't know if there was dialogue beyond that.
Well, that's right. I mean, we only have a snapshot of some of these messages. We don't have the entire context here, and that's worth keeping in mind. But you should also keep in mind that this is a form of communication that continued between Donald Trump Jr. and WikiLeaks all the way through July of 2017. And even at that time, as we got into 2017, there were questions in the public. The intelligence community was frank in its assessment of what kind of role WikiLeaks had played in the 2016 election. And the intelligence community was very clear about the fact that they believed that WikiLeaks was a cutout for the Russians. In other words, a vehicle that Russian intelligence was using to disseminate this stolen information. So it is interesting that there was this line of communication, according to these documents, between Donald Trump Jr. and WikiLeaks all the way through July of 2017.
And just to remind everyone, it was CIA Director Mike Pompeo that called WikiLeaks a hostile intelligence service.
Well, and that's true. And we've had President Trump sort of question the intelligence community and its findings. But this is President Trump's own CIA Director, Mike Pompeo, who has come out a few times now and has said that he also views WikiLeaks as part of this Russian intelligence apparatus.
All right. Jeff Pegues, thank you so much.